Hi folks, early March now, so it's about time to start sowing a few bits and pieces. I'm not going to be sowing a lot. Today I'm just going to sow my spring onions, white Lisbon, and then my leeks, same again as always, musselburgh, and my banana shallots. This year I'm going to grow a different variety to Zabron, because last year I had a bit of a problem with them, if you remember. Whether it was me just keeping them in here when they were too cold or what, I don't know, but I've gone for a different variety this year called Allotment. Exactly the same sounding sort of stuff. Long bulbs that store exceptionally well once harvested, so we'll give those a go. So I'm going to plant them all apart from the leeks in the same manner. I've got little 40 cell seed trays just full of compost. I made a little indentation in each cell with my finger. And what I'm going to do with these shallots is there's 250 seeds in the pack apparently, which is about 3 times as many as I got last year. So I'm going to try and plant about 2 in each module, because I want to plant about 100 plants out hopefully. So then if I do get 2 germinating, I can either pinch 1 out, or I can leave it actually and just let 2 grow in the same space, because they will grow 2 abreast, 3 abreast. They'll just be slightly smaller than if you just grew 1. So it couldn't be easier. This is where I can't see with my specs on. So like I said, I'm just going to, my fingers are absolutely freezing because it's about 2 degrees in here. So I've just been putting the compost in. I can hardly feel my fingers. So I'm just going to try and get 2 in each little indentation. 4 in that one, 3 in that one, 2 in that one, and we'll see how far we get. So I'm going to try and get 100 modules out. I'll see how far we go. I'll probably run out before that if I'm dropping 3 or 4 in each hole. And I've got more than I need, so I'll just do these. And then later on I'm going to plant a few potatoes today, just some dead early ones in small 10-litre pots, just 1 seed potato in. I managed to get hold of some Charlotte seed potatoes from my local garden centre. So I'm going to plant most of them in about mid-April I would say, but I'll give some a good head start now. Let them sprout inside, and then as soon as they start to sprout we'll put them in this little greenhouse. And then with any frosts that's about, we'll just have to cover them up as best as possible, and then we should be good to go for quite an early crop, maybe June or something, at late May. Right, so we've really got to the end of this one. So there looks to be plenty of seed left. So I've got roughly 2.5 in each module. So I'm just going to lightly cover it with a bit of spider just appeared there. Put your head up and I'll cover you up there. So I'll just give these a quick cover with this compost, just riddle it on. And that should do. Just try and level it out a touch. That couldn't be easier. And then with my little squeezy bottle, just going to water it in. So like I said, what I'm going to do with these this year is I'm going to give them a bit more care and attention. I'm going to keep them quite warm rather than putting them in here when there's any frost about. I've just invested in some more of these little mini greenhouse things. £2.20 each with the seed tray, the pot and the cover, so I bought 10 for 22 quid, so I thought that was quite a good deal. So yeah, I might actually grow some under lights, just 1 box, and see if they get any better, but I'm going to be really careful with them this year. I'm not going to let them get too frosted or anything like that, because last year they just didn't do too well at all. Spring onions and leeks, hard as nails, it doesn't bother them, but these seem to be a little bit more susceptible to the cold. So I'll either grow under lights or in the porch where it never gets frosty. So we've got some spring onions. Spring onions are similar. Like I said, I'm going to make another dimple in each one. I'm only doing 20 20 modules of the spring onions, because I'll be doing successional sowings of those. And what I'm going to do with these is put like about 5 or 6 seeds in each module, so then you get a clump of them growing, and then you can plant a clump out into your garden about 6 inches apart, and then when you come to harvest them you just pull a big clump up rather than selecting single ones. So there seems to be hundreds of seeds in there, as there always is with spring onions. So let's see, 5 or 6, about 8 in that one, about 6 in that one. I always find growing them in modules, spring onions, so much faster to take off than just sowing the seeds outside. They just never seem to get going for some reason outside when it's this cold. But give them a little bit of a head start, let them get some roots down into the compost in here, and then they just seem to fly away when you plant them outside, even though it's still cold. So that's 20 of those done. So there's about 5 or 6 in each one, so that'll give me about 100 spring onions for the first batch. Again, just give it a bit of a riddle, just straighten it out a bit, give it a bit of a watering in. And the job's a good one. What I'll do with these, I'll take these inside the house and just germinate them in the warmth of the house, and then as soon as they start to germinate I'll bring them in here, the leeks and the spring onions. So the leeks, doing those as usual. Got my polystyrene box. I think the greengrocers use them to keep broccoli in, but I find them so much better than just using a seed tray, because there's a lot of depth of soil, there's a lot more energy for a lot more nutrients for the plants to go at, and it's always been a good way of doing it, I found. So again, leek Musselburgh, just a bog standard variety. I'm actually still pulling them up if you saw my videos now, so it's they've stored really well over winter, sort of in the ground. There's absolutely hundreds of seeds in here. Now I always sow these way too thickly, so I have to spend hours thinning them out, so I'm going to try and do it quite thinly this year. Just going to broadcast them all over the surface. Still going to be way too thick, because I want them probably to be about 1 inch apart each way in the box, so then I've got about 60 or 70 growing, and these are about 2 millimeters apart. So I've done it again, I've done it way too thickly. I'm not going to pour those in. There's still about 2/3 of the packet left, so we'll get on. And again, just going to cover these with compost, give them a watering in. I don't know what's in this compost, but when you riddle it, it shows what rubbish is in it. Looks like blooming tree bark and all sorts. But I suppose if it's helping keep the environment, then so be it. I try and avoid the stuff with green waste in at all costs, because there can be anything in that. Pollutants, pesticides. The stuff I'm using's got quite a lot of like wood fibre in it and stuff like that, so it's still sterile, but it's not full of peat. So right, so that's that out. Exactly the same again. Just gonna give it a good watering in, bring it indoors, give it a little bit of warmth until it starts to germinate, and then we'll just keep it in here to grow on. It's freezing today. It's going to be frost forecast for the next couple of nights, and my heat treated onion sets have just arrived, which is far too early for me, but so I'm going to leave those for a week or so and get those in. So right, I'll get on and plant a few potatoes now, just a few little ones in some 10-litre pots, and I'll show you how we do that. Well, right then folks, I'm going to plant a few potatoes in these 10-litre pots now. I've got a few Nicola, or I can't remember, Nicola or Charlotte seed potatoes. They'd actually started to sprout before I bought them, so it doesn't matter now because they're going straight in. So I'm just going to use some bog standard compost. Nothing fancy. Sort of half fill it for now. It's quite fluffy, this stuff, it's quite good. And I'm going to use this spud fertiliser. It's some of the pound shop stuff actually, it's organic. High potash, which is good for potatoes, that makes them a bit bigger. I'm just going to put just a small handful in there. Just mix that in. And then take my seed potato, sprouts upwards, and just push it in to within about 1 inch of the bottom. I don't know whether you can see that in there. And then simply just fill the pot right to the top. It's dead light and fluffy, this stuff. Another handful of that into the top half. Mix it in. And really that's about it. Well, like what I say, what I'll do with these is I'll leave these in the house as well, or in the porch, because they won't germinate in here, it'll be that cold. So I'll leave them in there. They'll probably start to sprout, send shoots up in about 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll bring them into here, into the light. And then any frosts that occur, just have to cover them up with loads of layers of fleece and just hope for the best. But it's always a good, it's a good start to get a few potatoes a little bit earlier, maybe a month earlier than normal. So I'll just do it a few in these 10-litre pots, 1 seed potato in each pot. And we get a few early ones, which is quite nice. So anyway folks, that's about it. That's all I'm sowing at the moment. My shallots, my leeks, my spring onions and a few early potatoes in pots. So that's about it folks. See you later.